Hello everyone, Alien Volt here, and I am playing a game called Hired Ops. Now, what got me to notice this game wasn't really the game itself. It was actually its big brother. And when I say big brother, I mean the game that most people are aware of, and that's Escape from Tarkov. Now, Escape from Tarkov is labeled as a very hardcore survivalist type game. Something like you would play in DayZ, where you go out with nothing and you have to equip loot and try to get out alive. It looks amazing. There's so many animations for the game. The graphics look awesome. I mean, it's a really high-end game. Okay, that being said, their first project that the studio is known for is a project when they were part of another studio, and that was Contract Wars, which was made by Absolute Soft. Now, they made this game, it's kind of a Facebook game, handheld type devices and stuff like that. You can play it on PC through a browser, and it's decent. I mean, it was decently popular. They did a good job with it. However, that being said, it also wasn't a AAA title. So after the team split basically into two different studios, one went on to make Escape from Tarkov, and they're responsible for the 2028 Russian lore basically that these games are based on. And Absolute Soft went ahead and decided to make Contract Wars for PC on Steam. Now, at first they were just going to port the game over, and then they decided to go ahead and revamp it and make it better. So currently the game's in alpha, it's in early access, and it's basically going through a bunch of changes. They're adding maps, they're updating it, and they're trying to basically make the game that they want to make and they think is a game that people are going to want to play. So far this game has basically had a deathmatch game mode where it's everyone against everyone, and then a team deathmatch game mode. But to get to Team Deathmatch, you actually have to reach level 5, which can be tedious because the community at this point is not very big. And because of that, I've recommended that they just take any type of limitations off, at least during testing phases. Because right now, it's just not really worth it to have it there. It divides the community up from the new players to those that have been playing for a little bit. Although it doesn't take a long time to actually get to level 5, it can take a long time if you can't find a lobby. The whole time I played, I don't think I ever experienced a full lobby. And I think I've got close to 3 hours in now. Which isn't a lot, but it's enough for me to get a good feel for the game. Now, like its big brother Escape from Tarkov, both games are developed with a version of the Unity engine. Now, Tarkov, I know, uses the newest iteration of the Unity. I don't know what iteration this one's actually using. I don't know if it's the newest engine or if it's the one right before that. The graphics don't look bad per se, but they don't look like they're up to par with what a AAA title of its caliber would have. The other thing that I noticed too is that the field of view seems to be screwed up. When I'm sitting here running around playing, everything looks like it's in a V, like it's widened out, and the highest it'll go is 90. So if you have problems with motion sickness, this might not be a game for you to try. After cutting the field of view down to 70, or I think 75, which is like their halfway point because it starts at a default of 60, it improved, but it still wasn't great. And honestly, I don't really want to play a game that often with a field of view that's restricted to 75. So hopefully that's something they can fix. The gunplay isn't really bad. Not that I've noticed anyway, but really I've only fired 2 weapons in this so far. You start off with a basic pistol, and I played my first 3 rounds with the pistol and I just got my ass handed to me. It was pretty bad. But I wasn't aware that I had to purchase the weapon before starting because I really didn't do any research on this game. I saw it on Steam for $10. I figured, why not try it out? Surprisingly, I actually liked the gunplay. I think the game plays pretty well. Now, there are some things that need to be improved with the game. I mean, when I'm moving my sights around, my weapon kind of blurs. I took off motion blur, and that didn't seem to really fix it. It just seems to be part of the game. I really hope they resolve that, because the game just feels like it's unnecessarily blurry, and it's distracting. Now I realize this is an early access game. It's in the early stages of early alpha. They don't even have all their maps. They plan on introducing something like a total of 12 maps. And right now they only have a handful available. So this game still has quite a ways to go before it's actually in a full release state. That being said, there's going to be a lot of bugs. You're going to have problems with lag. You're going to have game breaking issues where sometimes the game just might not be playable at all. I mean, that's part of early access. They're testing things out, they're designing things, and then if the game doesn't work right, they get feedback and they fix that. At the same time, when people play this, most people don't really understand that about early access. They want an early access game they can play, and they expect it to play perfectly. Well, that's not really how it works. But when you go on to Steam and you see reviews, that's what the reviews are going to show. People's disappointment in the product that they're playing. Their disappointment that the game lags, or the game has rubber banding issues with the network, or that they can't start it up, they can't play it, it won't work with their video card, it won't work with their processor. All those issues can be expected in early access, and they should be welcome to some extent, because when you identify those issues, it helps the developer fix the game before it's out on early release. In my opinion, really, on most of these early access games, you shouldn't even be able to write a review. Because writing a review on an early access game, you never know what the final product's going to be, and it's really judging a game in its development process versus a finished game, something that would be released on a release date that you purchase and you expect to play, and you expect everything to work perfectly from that moment on. An early access game, if you're expecting it to work perfectly, you don't even understand what early access is. However, that being said, there are some issues with this game. The field of view needs to be worked on. I think personally the textures need to be improved. I also think that the character models need to be upgraded quite a bit. I'd like to see the blurriness on the weapon when you move fixed or eliminated completely. I don't see why it's there. Like I said, to me it just feels distracting. And I'd like to see the network code worked on. I'd like to have servers available so that way you can actually go through a server list and select a server that you want rather than just a matchmaking system. I really don't know if they're using servers or if they're using a hosting technique. I believe they're using servers, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so I don't know. I know they are using matchmaking, and to me that's an issue when the game doesn't seem to run right. And that's probably a networking issue. It's part of the coding and getting everything set up right, and it's something that they can fix. I mean, even Rainbow Six Siege had that issue upon release. For probably the first couple of weeks it was really bad, maybe even longer. And it was identified in the alphas and the betas, I know, because I wrote about it. Hopefully it's something they can fix soon, because even in an early access state, people are going to want that fixed. However, my expectation is that they fix it before the game is released. I can deal with it in an early access state of the game. I can live with that. If I die because of, a lag or a rubber banding issue, okay. I'm not going to die repeatedly for it. If I do, I'll just stop playing for a while and wait for a patch and then come back and try it again. But I do have higher hopes for this game. It's actually fun. It kind of reminds me somewhat of Call of Duty and Battlefield, almost a mixture between them. Well, Battlefield Team Deathmatch, not with the vehicles and everything else like that. It just seems like the game has a lot of potential, like it's something that could really be good and fun. But it's whether or not the developers can actually follow through and make something that plays better, in my opinion, than Contract Wars. Because Contract Wars, to me, was a pretty basic bones game that was developed, like I said, for Facebook and, handheld portable devices. Even though a lot of people still played it on PC through a web browser. Now, another thing I'd like to see developed into this game, too, is voice because right now there's no voice to communicate with teammates if you're playing in a team deathmatch game mode. I mean, obviously in deathmatch it's really not needed, so it was probably never really even thought about implementing, but in a team deathmatch game mode you're going to want that there, especially in the new game mode they implemented, which was very similar to Counter-Strike's bomb mode. You're going to actually want to communicate with team members. I mean, anytime you have to play in a team atmosphere, you're going to want to communicate with team members, and you don't want to have to type things. Other than that, there's not much more I could say about this game. If you like the concept and you want to play an inexpensive first-person shooter, then go ahead and give it a try. But I would hold off if you have expectations that there's going to be a large community with this game, because there really isn't. Now, if you buy the game with a group of friends and you just want to play the team deathmatch game mode, then go ahead and give it a try, as long as you're willing to live through the bugs and sometimes game-breaking issues, because that's what you're going to find with an early access game. Otherwise, just wait till the game's closer to release, or actually released, and then give it a shot then. Anyways, I hope you found my video informative. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. See you next time.